My name is Anne Marie Shackle. I'm Kelly Shackle's mom, and my dad, Dan Scanlon, had Alzheimer's diagnosed at age 84. And actually, he was the eldest of 8, and 3 of his sisters had been diagnosed before him with Alzheimer's. So we were worried about this illness. Well, of course, we were really sad because my dad was a brilliant man, probably should have been a math teacher, and he had been a World War II vet, 6 years in the Army in England. And all of a sudden, he was forgetting to pay bills and just getting very agitated if anything was ever moved. Well, my sister lived closer to my dad on the East Coast, and so she experienced it on a day-to-day basis. So it was very worrying. They were worried about his safety. He loved to go walking for about 10 miles a day, even in his late 80s, and so we had to get a bracelet for him in case he did wander off and was found by the police and needed to know how to get back. I, of course, was on the other end of the phone, so was not as directly impacted living with him as she was. I'd say it was 2 things. I mean, one, it was the idea that this brilliant man didn't really get a chance to get to know my children, Kelly and Ryan, and that was so sad, a real lost opportunity. And secondly, I felt a tremendous sadness that I hadn't realized early enough to do things that I had wanted to, play math games with him and other things that I know he'd be so capable of had I engaged in those maybe a year earlier. Well, as I mentioned, my dad was one of 8, and in the end, all 8 members did contract Alzheimer's disease before they died. So I am worried. I'm worried for myself and my siblings, and I get quite tense when I think I'm having memory issues. And I will be following up on that medically. And of course, I'm worried for my children in terms of twofold, them having to potentially take care of me at some stage or get involved in my care, and then also worried about them for their own personal lives. Yeah, I would say number 1 is patience is key. This is not something the person has control over. They're not being lazy or trying to forget things. So streamlining things and making things easier is key. We created a book of my father's life, which was very helpful, and he loved reading it. We would have all the World War II songs that he loved playing in Irish melodies, a phone list of all his contacts so he could call people. So really just streamlining and focusing on the positive as opposed to the negative and what they're losing.